Hello, am I audible? Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So since it is 11:15, I'm going to start. So cubic spline is today's topic. So before we start, does anyone have any doubt in the previous topics, means linear spline or qua- quadratic spline? Okay, since you do not have any doubt about what spline is, can you tell me what is a spline? Anyways, uh, let me remind you what a spline is. Suppose we are given some points. Suppose we are given some points and we wanted to fit uh, a reliable structure, a reliable polynomial on this data set. So the best idea given by Schoenberg was that we should connect these points by some polynomials, and that might give you the better fit than the higher degree polynomials, and the better fit is due to the different polynomials which we chose. Okay, so what is a spline? Spline, allow me to admit someone first. A spline is a function Sx which is equal to Six, where I runs from an index, or I can be 0, 1, 2, and these correspond to these functions like S naught x, S1 x, Sn x. So what are splines? Splines are just a combination of these functions. Okay. So since we had discussed linear spline and quadratic spline, I'm going to discuss today the cubic spline. The procedure for the cubic spline is same as it was for quadratic spline. So let me define formally what a cubic spline is. Wait a second. So cubic spline. So in quadratic spline, we were fitting our data with 2-degree polynomials. In linear spline, we fit our data with a 1-degree polynomial. In cubics, obviously, we will fit our data with 3-degree polynomials. So what a spline is, it is the same thing, but the degree is replaced by 3. Uh, suppose the data set we are given is equal to x naught, which is less than x1, up to xn, which is equal to b, and we want to fit in these interval one polynomial each. One polynomial of degree 3 in each interval. So these polynomials are these Six corresponding to all the intervals. And when we combine this, we get what we call a spline. In this case, it's a cubic spline. Okay, so it is the same thing. Now we move to its construction. Before that, there's an observation. Let us see what we can do with the cubic spline. Uh, in the definition, there's one more thing required, that since it has to be a polynomial, we want that the function s, its derivative and its double derivative, all free to be continuous. This is what we want. and remember that these points were called knots. For example, if we have something like this, x naught, x1, x2, x3, and we have our fit like s1, s2, s3, then these points are called knots. Basically, the not the last ones, but the middle ones, which join two splines, is called a knot. Okay. Now, how does a cubic polynomial looks like? It is like a naught plus a1x plus a2x squared plus a3x cubed. Means there are four coefficients to be determined, and if we do for each subintervals, we will have 4n coefficients to be determined. So how do we do this? Suppose we can use continuity of the splines. Means we know that s dash and s double dash are continuous everywhere. Means implying that they are continuous at knots. So what do I mean by they are continuous at knots? Suppose we have those points x naught, x1, x2, x3, and these are our spline s1, s2, s3. So what I mean to say is that at this point x1, the value of s1 is equal to value of s2. Means s1 evaluated at x1 should be equal to x2 evaluated at x1. So this gives us one condition, and since similarly we can get one condition from here. So in I mean, what we have to do in 4 points we get only two conditions. So how many points do we have? We have n plus 1 points. So we will have n minus 1 conditions by continuity of s. Since uh, since s along with s dash and s double dash is continuous, that implies we will have n minus 1 conditions from this, n minus 1 conditions from this, and n minus 1 conditions from this, making it 3n minus 3 conditions in all. And since we know that the data set has n plus 1 points, what are the points? X naught, x1, x2, xn. We obviously know, I mean, what will be given? We will be given these points and the value of these points like f naught, f1, f2. So these will be given to us. That means we know uh, these n plus 1 conditions in advance. So how many conditions do we have now? These 3n minus 1 conditions and this n plus 1 condition, total becomes 4n minus 2 conditions. How many conditions are required? We had, what did we have? We had 4n coefficients, and we have 4n minus 2 conditions. That is, we require 2 more conditions. So what do we do?
Sir,
How do we? Hmm. please.
सर ये फॉरेन कोफिशिएंट का एक बार फिर से एक्सप्लेन कर दीजिए.
We are discussing cubic splines and how does a polynomial look? How does a cubic polynomial look like? It looks
a0 plus a1x plus a2x square
hmm.
minus a3x cube.
And so how many coefficients does it have? 4. So we have 4 unknowns,
Yes sir.
but we have n splines because for each interval x0 comma x1 up to xn comma xn minus 1, they are n intervals. So for each interval we have one si, okay, like s1 up to sn. So
Okay,
we'll have
got it, sir.
4 coefficients from each of them and we'll have 4n coefficient. So this will imply that we have 4n variables and only 4n minus 2 conditions. So we'll have to arrange 2 more conditions. So how do we arrange those 2 conditions? So there are some ways suggested. Let's look on them. So we can take any of the following to be our our 2 more conditions. What are them? The first one is called natural spline. That is, it says that at initial points the derivative vanish, double derivative. So this will give you 2 more conditions, and your job is done now. So why is it called natural spline? It is called natural spline because we assume that whenever our data set is given, like we are given, suppose these are the points, and we somehow fit some spline here, and this implies that a function is linear, because a linear function like ax plus b has its double derivative 0 at all the points. So we assume that all the function which we are going to approximate can be approximated linearly like this in beyond xn and prior to x0, means before x0 and after xn the function which we are given can be approximated by linear functions. This is what natural spline means. So so we can take these 2 conditions. The other one is called correct boundary condition. So it appears to be like this. This condition we use when we can compute the derivatives, because what will be given, will be given only data set like x naught and f naught. This is what will be given. So how do we compute this derivative? So if we can compute somehow, then we can use this condition, and to compute the derivative there are many methods: forward difference, backward difference, and all. Now the third one is not a knot. So suppose, let me admit someone. So what does this not a knot means? Suppose we have these data points and we have our this spline. So what happens, we have cubic polynomials, 2 cubic polynomials joined at this point. Suppose if this point were not a knot, I mean if this point x1 was not a knot, what would have happened? The joint will be a smooth curve. I mean, there will be, I mean, it will look like this, the point this, whatever it is, xi, xi. So this will imply that you are taking a smooth curve, you are not taking some joint, some junction of two polynomials. So how this thing can be mathematically expressed as that third derivative of x1. I mean, if x1 is not naught, then it should coincide with the third derivative of the s2 with x1. Means suppose it is s1, it is s2. So what does it say? The third derivative are coinciding. Suppose it was a naught, then the third derivatives may not be equal. Most of the time they are not equal. They show a jump, discontinuity. So if this is the case, then we say that x1 is not a naught. So similarly, we can there has to be one more point which should not be a naught. Then we can get one more extra condition like this, and we'll have two more conditions as we wanted. Now, what is the fourth one? The fourth one is periodic boundary condition. So suppose we have a periodic function. I mean, this condition we'll use when our function is periodic. So if we have a periodic boundary condition, we will assume that the derivative of that function are also periodic. So we'll take two more conditions like this. So this was all. I mean, this is the way to choose your two conditions out of these four. So now let's move on to the construction of those cubic spline. Does anyone have any doubt till here? Should I move forward? Okay, I'm moving forward. Construction of cubic spline. So there are two methods. The first method is called second derivative form. So if you remember what we did in last turn, I mean with what we did with quadratic spline, then it is exactly the same method. Still, let me give you some details. Since we are working with a cubic polynomial, we know that if we take its second derivative, it's going to be a linear function like this. So what we'll do, we'll write that linear function as this. This is just equation of a straight line. And then what we did with quadratic spline, we integrated and we substituted the value and we got our result. So this is exactly what we are going to do here. But since it is a cubic polynomial and there is a double derivative, we have to integrate twice. So integrating, what we'll get? So this is what we'll get when we integrate this. Okay. Does anyone have any problem? No. Integrating again. Wait a second. Sorry. So what will be the answer if we integrate it again? It will be something like this. So since our method is called the second derivative form, what we'll have to do, we'll have to eliminate this first order derivative from our equation. So we don't want it. How do we do it? We'll put, let me call these equations some name. I'm calling this 1, this 2. So what we'll do, we'll put x equals to x1 into what will that do? If I put x equals to x1, you can see that something may vanish because there will be x1 minus x0, and this quantity will vanish one of the powers here. So the end result will be I'm skipping some of the calculations because we don't have that much time. You can verify that it is correct. So this is what we'll get, and we wanted the derivative. So what we'll do, we'll just isolate this. So it becomes so what we'll do now, we'll put this value in equation 2 and we'll get our answer, the spline. But there will still be some problem because when we put the value of s dash in equation 2, there will be no first derivative term, but there will be second derivative terms, and we do not know what they are. We will have to compute the second derivative terms. So to compute second derivative terms, we will use, how do we compute? We will use continuity of s dash, means first derivative, continuity of first derivative. So what was it? The continuity of first derivative means derivative means this is like this. Means you take ith spline, make its derivative, and compute it at xi. This should be equal to the I plus 1th spline, its derivative computed at xi. Means the same thing which I just shown before. So this is what continuity means. So we'll use this to compute what s double dash x are. Means all the double derivative. This part which will call the right hand limit, and this part which right hand spline actually. I mean, this is a knot. There will be one spline s1. There will be another spline s2. So this is what we'll calling right hand spline. This is what we'll calling left hand spline. So at this point both splines should be equal. This is what it is written. So this can be calculated by using equation, let me call it 3, equation 3. It is already called 3, equation 3. And this part can be calculated by the following equation. And how do I get following equation? I got following equation by putting the value of s dash x naught which is in equation 3 in equation 2, equation 1 here. This equation 1. So what will be the final result? I'm writing it down. Sorry. So, and I am computing the final result at x1. So what we'll do to use the continuity, this part will be calculated from this equation and this part will be calculated from this equation. So after calculating, we'll equate them, and when we equate them, we'll get equations from for s double dash. So how do we get? Let me show you. Suppose we are using this equation to calculate this part. So what we'll do, we'll just put the value xi plus. So this means we are just going to put xi. So since it jumps, let me admit someone. Since it is x naught and it is x1 for some ith interval, what we'll get is this. Does anyone have any doubt? And when we'll use this equation, I mean equation, let me call it 4, to calculate this one, what we'll get? Is xi minus 1. And then we'll equate these two equations. After equating and doing some change of variable, means just making it look like a little simpler. So what we'll do, we'll put this to be equal to mi and this to be equal to hi, and obviously this is we are given as fi. So after equating and some doing some cancellation, we'll finally get this. So this is the main formula which we'll use. Suppose we have equal lengths in our interval. If equal the length is equal, then hi is equal to h for all I. So then our formula looks like this. For I equals to 1 to n minus 1, because these were the knots. We are calculating only these many equations. But the derivatives are obviously the derivatives are more. We have the derivatives are starting from s double dash at x naught up to s double dash as xn. So we have n plus 1 variables. I mean these mi's. How many mi's are there? M naught, m1 up to mn. So these are n plus 1 variables, and we have only n minus 1 equations. So what we need two more equation, and we'll use those 4 points to arrange two more equations for ourselves. And suppose we use the natural spline thing. So these are the two more equations. So if we use this and these simultaneous equations, I mean n minus 1 equations are here, 2 are here, total n plus 1 equations, and this is exactly the number of variables we have. So we can compute all the things, and then we can put those things in our which equation. In if we put all the double derivatives in this equation 2, then we'll get our spline, where you know what is s naught. S naught we'll have to replace s naught from this equation 3. Okay. So this was all. I mean this was the second derivative form. Does anyone have any doubt? Is that clear?
सर लास्ट लाइट दिखा दीजिए.
Last line.
स्लाइड
Please repeat your question.
स्लाइड दिखा दी लास्ट वाली.
लास्ट स्लाइड दिखा दें तुम्हें. दिख रही है? और कुछ देखना है?
नहीं सर.
So if you have any question, you can ask me. So let me summarize what we did. What we'll have to do, let me these are all second derivatives. Since we are doing second derivatives method, we'll compute all the second derivative starting from s double dash x naught up to x double dash n. So how many are there? So these are n plus 1 second derivatives. How do we calculate? We'll form the system of equation for these n plus 1 variables. How do we form system of equations? Exactly like this. So let me call it star. So we'll form system of equation like this, and we know what fi's are. We know this from the table. This is what we are given. So what we will have minus 1 system of equation from this star equation, and we will have two equations from here. if we are using natural spline. So we'll have n plus 1 equation, we'll solve them. After solving them, we'll get all these things, and then when we are done solving, we can just put the values in this equation 2, and we are done. This is our answer. Okay, so this is the all procedure. This was the procedure. Any doubt? Everybody good? Okay, there's one more method called the first derivative method. So it is the same thing. I mean, it looks different, but the calculation is almost the same. We will eliminate the second derivative, and the first derivative will appear in our equations, and uh, we'll somehow manage to get the n plus 1 equation for our first derivative, and we'll solve them. We'll put those equations, those numbers in our final equation, and we'll get the answer. So if you allow, I mean, if you are interested, I can show the details of the first derivative equation, or you can just look at what it was. So what do you suggest? Should I show the details?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it is again construction of cubic spline, and this time our method is first derivative form. So since we know that what we are going to generate is a cubic polynomial, uh, there is a form called Lagrange's coefficient. So we can express every cubic polynomial in the Lagrange's coefficient like this. So this is our initial starting point. Where L naught x, which is defined by this, and L1x, which is defined by this, are called Lagrange's coefficient. And phi naught x, phi 1x, psi naught x, and psi 1x are just linear functions. So let me call it equation 1. So this is a cubic polynomial because we have degree 2 here and degree 1 here. When we will multiply, we'll get a cubic polynomial. These are Lagrange's coefficient, and note that first derivative, it is first derivative. Sorry, not this one. This one is, and these two are first derivatives, uh, which are appearing. There is no second derivative, so this is why it is called the first derivative form. So what we'll have to do, we'll have to calculate somehow these first derivatives and the functions phi naught, phi 1, psi naught, psi 1. So these are the things which we'll have to calculate, and then we will put all the things in our original equation 1, and we'll get our spline. So now, how do we calculate phi 1, phi naught, psi 1 and psi naught? So since they are all linear, phi 1x can be written as a naught x plus b naught, and sorry, psi naught x, and then psi naught x can be written as c naught x plus d naught. Suppose this is what we have. So how do we calculate this? What we'll do, we'll put x equals to x naught in 1. So what will that do? If we put x equals to x naught in 1, think what happened with what happens with L1. If I put x equals to x naught here, what will happen? We'll have 0. So this term, all this term is eliminated. So this is what we'll get. We'll get and what happens when we compare this? Can you see this is sx naught, this is sx naught. This will imply that this is equal to 1 and psi naught at x naught is equal to 0. That is a naught x naught plus b naught is 1, c naught x naught plus d naught is 0. This is what we'll have. Now to compute these 4 coefficients a naught, b naught, c naught, d naught, we will have 2 more equations. How do we get those 2 more equations? We'll differentiate equation 1, and after differentiating, we'll put, when we have s, we'll differentiate it, and we'll put the value x equals to x naught again there. And when we'll do it, we'll get something like this. So suppose I'm calling this as h1, and then I am comparing the coefficients. What we'll get? We'll get phi naught dash at x naught is equal to 0. Sorry. We'll get phi naught dash x at x naught minus 2 over h1 phi naught x naught equals to 0, and similarly we'll get this is psi, this equals to 1. So since it is a linear polynomial, its derivative is just a constant. So what we'll get? A naught equals to 2 over h1 a naught x naught plus b naught, and c naught minus 1 is equal to 2 over h1 c naught x naught plus d naught. And when we'll use these 2 equations and these 2 equations, we can solve for a naught a1, sorry, a naught b naught, c naught d naught, and we'll get a naught equals to 2 over h1, b naught equals to 1 minus 2x naught over h1, c naught equals to 1, and d naught equals to minus x naught. Since we have these numbers, now what we want? we want our functions phi naught. So it becomes like this. What is psi naught at x
सर
now?
लास्ट स्लाइड दिखा दीजिए.
Last slide, just a second. So is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So what is psi naught at x naught? It is c naught x plus t naught, which is equal to x minus x naught. So now we have phi naught, psi naught. Similarly, we can compute our remaining two functions, which were phi 1 x and psi 1 x with the same procedure. And this will be computed at the x equals to x1. And then we'll get like 1 plus 2 x minus x1 over h1, and psi 1 when computed turns out to be x minus x1. So what we'll do, we'll put these values in our equation 1, and now only thing which remains is to compute the first derivative, because we did not compute first derivative yet. Let me show you how it looks. This is our equation 1 was, we computed psi naught x, phi naught x, phi 1 x, psi 1 x, and now we already know these. So what are these? These are just f naught and f1. Now we need to know these first derivatives. If we know these first derivative, we are done. So how do we know these first derivatives? We'll use the same procedure. We'll try to construct. We'll construct n plus 1 equations as we did before. The procedure is almost the same in the previous second derivative form. What we did, we calculated the integrals, but here we'll differentiate and use the continuity, the same continuity thing. How was the continuity? This time we'll use the continuity of the second derivative. So if we differentiate our equation 1 2 times, we'll get second derivative. Then we'll use the continuity at point xi, where I is 1 2 up to n minus 1, and then we'll equate them. So doing this, we'll get n minus 1 equations. And when we'll do this, and after a little change of variable, means I am calling mi to be s dash at xi, h to be xi minus 1, and s at xi to be the fi. We'll get these system of equation after solving a little. So what is this? This is the main thing to remember. We'll have n minus 1 equations from here, and the other two equations can be formed using the correct boundary conditions. Why are we not using a natural spline condition here? We are not using natural spline condition here because we are not dealing with the second derivatives. All we have is first derivative, and in natural boundary condition, the second derivative is 0. So since we are not using second derivative, we'll use correct boundary conditions, and correct boundary conditions appears to be like this. The disadvantage is that you have to calculate these two things. You do not know these two things. So you can calculate by any fundamental method like Newton's forward difference or backward difference method. So this will give you the two extra equations, and n plus 1 plus 2 extra equations gives you n plus 1 equations, and you had n plus 1 variables. So this is the system you need. You compute all the first derivatives, means mi's, and after computing you put all these thing in equation 1. Here it is equation 1. So now we also have the equation, means the first derivative, and we'll put all these here. We'll get our spline. Okay, so this was all. Any problem? Is there any problem? Okay, so the topic spline is done from my side. If you have any problem, you can ask. And the next, whatever the next topics are, will be taken by some other research scholar. You'll be notified who that is before the next class. So, any suggestions or problem or any question? Okay, since you are silent, I'll assume that you do not have any question. So thank you for your time, and I'm ending the session. Okay, thank you. You can leave now.